It's 9:10. We're gonna record this. It looks like we got 4 or 5 people. Everybody, we have Omar Guzman on with us. He's a new LO. He's testing the water, so everyone be nice to him. I told him you guys are all stellar. Travis is up in the corner. Omar, who you've talked to. Paul is our he's one of the original guys here. He does all kinds of stuff with financial planning and a few other things as well. So he's super smart. He's down here in San Diego with us. And then Darren is newer to us too. He comes very, very well-versed mortgage guy. He does a lot of stuff with investors and things like that. And this all-in-one product is one of the things that he's brought to us. As I was mentioning to you, if you have, a particular lender that you've been working with, or an AE that has just been really helpful to you, and they'll help, he'll be able to help us get other loans closed. We're definitely interested in talking to those companies. Right now we have, what do we have? Maybe 12, 13, Travis, different lenders that we're kind of working with. I think it's right around there.
It's probably over 20 now.
Okay. And we're, and everyone has their favorite.
I haven't told you about all of them. Like Alex had us add on like another 4 non-QMs because he was like shopping around because the rates suck, and all the ones, we're just trying to play catch up. Some of them are lagging behind a little bit just so they can snag, get in a few extra deals before they have to raise their rates. So we did add in a few extras, and then I'm going to be adding in Land Home Financial, I think it is. So Nick, who just joined us, he's been using them. He said they have a rent to own product over there that he likes. So I'm going to be bringing that on so he can continue with that product.
Speaking of an interesting product, I was looking at the CMG stuff, and they have this like down payment assistance sort of marketing program. It's really interesting, and it's actually given to the borrower or the potential borrower, and they set it up almost like a GoFundMe account. They run it through social media, telling what, and it basically allows anybody to electronically wire them down payment funds, closing cost funds, up to, it's interesting. It's it had like, I was watching some of those videos and I saw they had like this name of this product, and I'm like, oh, let's see what that one is. And it's like this whole, like, it's totally like a GoFundMe, raise money for my down payment. And then they have, it's tied to like almost like a Amazon charity card, where if you buy from these shops through that platform, you get a rebate from those purchases that goes into that same down payment thing. So you could, if let's say you had people that were, like a 20-year-old kid that's getting married or something, they're maybe in 5 or 6 years, they might be interested in doing a down payment. They might be interested in something like that,
I was gonna say that's an awesome wedding gift to put in place for somebody.
Right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. And then, that's actually really interesting. So I'm assuming it's still going. I don't know why they wouldn't. I just stumbled across it. We'll ask him about it when you talk to him. So today, what I want to talk about is basically just kind of some communication points. So I'm kind of harping on this lately, but I really think our biggest challenge as well as our benefit right now is communication. And we need to be communicating with as many potential leads as possible, potential, our current realtor partners, all of our business partners, attorneys, insurance, all that stuff. We need to really be communicating with them, as well as all of our database, because I think as this market, slows down, and our competition, us, within this, our realtors, all these, as people do less business because it's less active, they also forget about this communication. And that's what I don't want us to do. So it gives, we potentially could be in the, small minority of LOs still reaching out, still talking to our database, our realtors, our loan partners that are doing different things. And, so I wanted to kind of talk about one of the things that I think is a great tool to, help us get future business from referrals, as well as adding realtor partners that might want to work with us, is the pre-approval document. And it's more important than ever right now. And so what I wanted to kind of have a conversation with is one is, what do you guys do? What does your pre-approval look like right now? Like, are you guys using the one that shoots out of UWM that looks like a corporate document? Do you have your own? Like, what are you guys using, and how does that work? Paul, Darren, do you guys want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, I've had my own forever, and I think I really just switched it to our logo on it. I'm trying to look for it right now. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any key feature to that you really like you feel is an added benefit within that?
Yeah, I think you have to be careful with them. So I put in some language at my last company just saying, hey, look, this is based on like a full underwrite, and
Right.
But I like obviously sending the file to the lender and getting my pre-approval first from them. It doesn't necessarily have to go through underwriting, but just at least get them credit and income docs so they can tell you exactly what they qualify for.
Right.
Because I'll send a pre-qual out, that's fine, but a pre-approval, I think you need to be a little bit more careful with. Hold on, I'm looking for it. But yeah, I've always had my own that I had at my last company, because they offered them in the just the back office of their Google Drive.
Right.
So I've been using that.
And we do have one in our back office too. That you can modify.
Okay.
I can share my screen super quick. So in the MLO portal, this is what ours looks like. This one here.
Hey, look, that's me.
That's you.
Is it actually? Okay.
There
So
it is.
boom, boom, boom.
So, logo, it's got all the usual suspects on there. It's just kind of simple,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
if you
Okay.
need
Well,
something,
mine actually looks exactly like that. So perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
maybe I copied it from your company. I don't know.
Yeah.
Got it from somewhere.
Yeah, I got it from somewhere
Hey,
and
it works.
made some
Right.
changes. So,
Right.
So it's
So-
in there if you need it.
Cool.
The section
Okay.
would be
Hey,
MLO portal, and then down here in forms and miscellaneous.
So Travis, go ahead and leave that up if you could for a moment.
Yep.
If you could pull back up. So on this right here, is there, in your guys' opinion, is there anything, let's say, that stands out with this pre-approval that would make you remember it if you, let's say you called that realtor and said, hey, I just sent you a pre-approval from Tried and True. You might have remembered it has this, because let's assume that they're getting a dozen, 2 dozen offers coming in. So they've got a pile of pre-approvals. In my opinion, this
Yeah, I'll
one
make it a
is
little bigger.
efficient, right? This is efficient for delivering information, but it doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, say stand out, make us memorable, or in the eyes of, let's say, the listing agent, because that's who not only are we're letting them know that our client is able to buy this property, but at the same time, this is a marketing piece for us as LOs to recruit this listing agent to want to use us. So if we can wow them when we send a pre-approval, then there's a good chance that they're gonna, be interested in a follow-up phone call. Hey, I'd love to work with you. I'd like to get you on board. Can we have coffee? Whatever your system is for that, But where, this has all the data. What if, and
I I could put a picture of a bike if you want. Want me to put a picture of a bike on there?
And thinking of pictures, what about adding their picture or the picture or a small picture of the actual listing? You know, here's the house that my buyer wants. This is, and you know, they said that they told me this is their favorite, you know, of all the pictures, this was the one that stuck out to them when they wanted to go see it. And you tie it just a little bit of personal note of you're speaking with, you're letting the listing agent know that you speak to this buyer enough to know that which picture or which part of the house they like best, you know, and that's gonna drive home without saying it. Hey, we're really close. These people really want the house, because they're going to get that probably from the realtor as well. But it's not common to come that type of a follow-up to come from the lending side, where most of our competition is generally just sending the information. Hey, they're pre-approved. They have a 700 credit score. They're, you know, they're really nice people. They have a bank account at Chase. Like, none of that stuff, you know, it doesn't stick out enough. But you know, personalizing it just a little bit makes that now stand out. Ideally, potentially maybe making that conversation with the listing agent a little softer in the idea, oh man, you guys go a little bit extra. You guys really work close with your clients. You know, I want that for my buyer clients too, you know, and maybe they don't, but you know, again, if we're not standing out when we send these documents out, we're not doing anything. We're not doing ourselves a favor. At the same time, this document, it reconfirms that we're the right lender to use with our buyer's agent, because potentially we weren't connected to them. We just started working with them. Could be the very first deal. We got the client and they came with the lender or with the realtor. So now again, they're now seeing, they might be seeing this for the first time as well. So you want to make sure that they have this, that it stand out and, you know, personalized a little bit. So now they're going to want to go back and go, okay, when they talk to their next client, same thing. You know, these guys are in touch with our clients, working as a team to better stand out when we're writing offers. You know, at the end of the day, is something necessarily like a picture of the house on this pre-approval or a picture or, you know, a specific note to the listing agent or anything, is that going to get the offer won? Maybe, maybe not. Most likely not. But it still creates the marketing piece for us. It creates the standout, you know, opportunity. Makes us a little bit more memorable. It tells our client when they see it, hey, these guys go a few extra steps than anybody else. My realtor mentioned it. The listing agent mentioned it, you know, and that goes into, so when they're telling their friends about us or about their experience, oh man, my lender goes above and beyond, called me when we were ready to place an offer, asked me, hey, what was your favorite part of that house? And he added that into the pre-approval that he sent to the listing agent, personalizing it just a touch. So there's a standout moment when they look at that document. And, you know, going a document like this, that's all about numbers, adding in that very small personal touch could be what stands out completely. At least you're going to be remembered. You know, if you have the best offer, even better. You know, if your offer does get accepted, even on the 10th try, there's a good chance that you're, you know, what goes back to your client is, yeah, they mentioned that, you know, in this situation, the unique way that we put together our pre-approval letters stood out to them, and it kept coming back to them. And now we have a reason to reinforce how we help them get that offer accepted. So it's almost a follow-up tool as well. You know, you could add a picture of the agent, picture of the house, and you know, each of these times, you end up, you know, creating another opportunity to reach out to the client or on the client's behalf, but to the agent. So now you've got another touch going out there. And again, we're doing something a little bit different. What else do you guys think, you know, that do you guys do anything else right now other than pre-approval? And I'm assuming you guys, at least in some of these markets, you guys are calling the listing agent when you submit an offer. Paul, Darren, anybody?
Yes,
No?
yes.
Okay.
I call.
And what's your message when you call there, Paul?
Basically just, going over what we're offering.
Okay.
And if there's anything specific,
Uh-huh.
regarding title and escrow, I always ask them if they're using a specific title and escrow. This way we can put it into the offer. That way,
Uh-huh.
less, no counters. I'm trying not to have any counters. And so
Okay.
I'm trying to alleviate that. And just plugging in as best as I could. You don't want to tell a big old story because they really don't want to hear it. This is, their first house. They've got, 10 kids on the way. Nah, they don't want to hear that. They want to, it's all about numbers for them.
Might be. Well, and maybe not. But I agree with you that, if I'm the listing agent, I'm looking for top dollar. And I'll use an example I have is I sold one of the last properties I sold before coming over here. Military couple, we had bought it back in 2018, sold it just this year when they got moved to a new base. And we went on the market on Friday, open house Saturday, open house Sunday, had back-to-back showings from 10 o'clock to 4. The family stayed in a hotel for the weekend. I ended up with 12 offers. 9 of them were well over asking. And so the bottom 3 got lost. All the over asking I brought to them, put them out on the table with them. And I watched the wife skip right past all the offers and go to the personal letters. So all she was looking at, personal letter. And one of the funny things is she was obsessed with watching her Ring doorbell. And so she was trying to figure out which guy wrote this from the Ring doorbell videos that she was watching. So, but the whole time she's going after this story. Oh, they have kids the same age as our kids. They have this. Oh, they actually go to one of the schools close by. And the husband's like, oh, look at this one. This one's the most money. This one's more than we ever thought we would get, And, I watched these two people, completely different, perspectives of how they wanted to sell this house. In the end, we went with the second highest offer that had an emotional connection to the family because the wife of the buyer was from the same small town that the selling wife was. And they didn't know each other, but they were from the same area of the country in Kansas, and they had kids. Now, what made that deal work, more importantly, was that I was able to make sure that they could rent back the property before they got shipped out, which was the real hook. But watching how that happened, the highest offer didn't play out, so we went backwards. But seeing that the idea of the influence of the letter, I do believe comes into play in this, and it's worth I think mentioning something like that when you have the opportunity, Paul, only because it does allow you to be more memorable. You immediately put, okay, that's the family with the 2 kids that offered the highest amount possible, or those 2. Just like if most of the time when you guys have probably shown houses to clients, a lot of times they tag them by whatever is a standout feature of that property, something weird about the property. It becomes that house, the red house, the one with the weird pool, or the one whatever it might be. There's always that's how people remember things. So this idea of putting a small personal piece, not necessarily a story so much, but something about the buyers that connects them to the house is definitely helpful to stand out. But I think it's more It's more about us standing out with what we're delivering. This is an efficient pre-approval, but again, I don't feel like it stands out. I like what I've been doing recently, probably in the last year, is including putting I believe actually this is the same one that I'm using, slightly different as well, but I include a snapshot of the approve eligible DU because everyone wants that, and I promote that to my client as a kind of like a pre-approval on steroids. So we're now telling this listing agent, not that we put a Word document together like all the other real or loan officers in the county, but we actually ran your numbers through the automated underwriting system, and I got the receipt, I got the approve eligible back, and I'm putting that right here. I end up putting it in a small thing down in the corner, and any listing agent that does any real business is gonna know that. But in my email, when I include that, or when I call them, I point it out, say, hey, I included a snapshot of the DU. We have approval eligible, and I like to have that run generally every couple of weeks, because I like to have that to appear as fresh as possible, especially with rates changing right now. So, have you guys had, do you guys have any buyers that you pre-approved more than 60 days ago? Maybe? No? Anybody?
More than 60 days ago?
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
to 60 days ago? You do?
No, I was over 60 days.
Okay. And do you think, how much do you think their approvals changed since then based on rates?
Oh, huge based on rates.
Yeah. So, and I agree too. I think that's true. And so for us to stand out more and to come across as, a more efficient group of LOs caring for our clients, I've adopted the idea of talking about this in the way of when I'm presenting something like this. These guys were pre-approved 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, 10 days ago, because we need to make sure that that's fresh. And then when I explain that to the client, so that's a touch that goes to the listing agent, goes to the buying agent as well. So you're connecting with two realtors. Then you're talking with your client. Hey, I'm doing this for you every couple of weeks because I want this to have the most, the closest date possible to the date that you submit an offer. So this looks like you're fresh, pre-approved right now. And I'm watching this for you as you hunt for homes. Now your client is thinking, okay, he didn't just pre-approve me. He's watching this, even though we're not doing much different. I'm out looking for houses over here, but he's still in the office paying attention to my pre-approval. So, again, you're now telling your client that you're working for them, even though they don't really see what you're doing. And all you're doing is paying attention to the dates. And you're going to, the idea of rerunning DU, so it's a more current approval versus 60 days ago. Travis, if you were looking at this house you have going on the market, if you saw pre-approval and you knew it showed that it was 60 days old, would you be concerned about them actually being qualified? If your
100%.
listing was at 800 and they were
I
qualified
call
for 800?
anyways. I call the lenders anyways, but yeah, if I see something even 30 days old at this point, I mean, the rates have changed pretty significantly then, and especially if it's one of those pre-approvals where they're writing the pre-approval for the exact price of the home that they're on, the exact offer. Yeah, I'm calling. I mean, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I think, that's again, another opportunity for us to stay in touch with our realtor clients. So it's touch there by updating the pre-approval every couple of weeks with our clients, showing them that we're doing work for them, even though they're struggling to get, to find a property that they want, that we're not just waiting back here to close. These are the things that And while it might not seem super important for the deal that you have in front of you, these are all things that are remembered and talked about in passing. Oh man, what does a lender do? Oh, dude, my guy kept, you know what he did? He kept updating our pre-approval every couple of weeks to ensure that we were shopping at the right amount that we qualified for. And because rates were changing so much, you know, there's no one talking about doing this right now. And maybe it's happening. There's got to be, I mean, this isn't rocket science, so there's probably people doing it, but if they're not talking about it or sharing it, like I'm saying, they might not be benefiting the way we could. But when I talk about, whenever I make any type of social post or I push content out that talks about rates, I always say, if you are, you know, have a pre-approval that's more than 30 days old and your lender hasn't contacted you, reach out to me for a second opinion. There's a good chance that things have changed, and I don't want you to be shopping for a house that you potentially don't qualify for anymore because of the dramatic change in rates. So it's not us. We're not the culprit of why they don't potentially qualify or need an update. We're the ones watching out for them, even if their lender isn't. So again, another opportunity to share with the public as well as your own clients that you guys are working on their behalf while they're just shopping for the house, you know? So
No, I definitely agree with that. And that's a really good talking point too. If anybody is trying to reach out to realtors to earn business, you know, hey, can I get you, do you have any buyers that you've been working with for a while? Can I update their approval? Because, you know, even the example you gave yesterday on the meeting, on what, an $800,000 purchase or something like that.
right, the difference in rates.
Yeah, where the rate was, where it is now, and it was like, you know, a $700 difference in payment. I mean, that can knock the buyer out of a price point super quick. Like they may not even know at this point. They're out there looking at the same price homes they were looking at 3 months ago when they possibly can't even qualify for that property anymore. And the realtor
And then
isn't
in
even
that
thinking about
scenario,
it. They're just like, I have this piece of paper. This is what we're looking at, you know?
yeah. And the hard thing is in that scenario, if your rate goes up $700, while as the buyer, you're like, you know what? I really want this house or a house. I'm willing to eat that. Like I'll figure out how to make that payment. Except unfortunately, we're bound by guidelines. And if that's $700, when it gets dumped into the numbers and your DTI springs up over qualifying limits, it doesn't matter if you can, you know, quit your Starbucks habit, or, you know, you don't go out to dinner as much and you save the money to make that $700 extra a month payment, and you're planning, and I can do it for, you know, 2 years until rates go down or whatever your rationale is. If that money gets dumped into the loan file and it bumps you up over qualifying limits, you're not there, which we see that often with, you know, when a family is potentially looking at a house or condos, and then all of a sudden the price of the HOA is more than they expected, or they didn't include that, and all of a sudden you got $350, $400 for an HOA fee, and now you don't qualify because you lost $50,000 worth of buying power. I mean, that's $700. That's probably 80, 90 grand in buying power.
Yeah, it's a significant amount. And I mean, how many times have we seen a HOA throw off a deal because that's how tight that borrower is, you know, like the loan officer estimated 250 on the HOA and it's 305, and boom, they can't afford the home now.
Yep. So, you know, just this one document that we push out, and the buyer wants it badly because they need it to, you know, a lot of times even just go visit a property, but it's an opportunity for us to use as a marketing tool to show that we're a little bit different, that we're, if anything, that we're just more memorable, adding a picture, adding, you know, something about the client or the house, you know, adding DU. I like DU because it's something we do anyways, but even when we're speaking to our client, that we tell them how important it is. And then if we don't use that in our pre-approval, then, you know, it sort of takes away from it. But by adding it in and explain to them, hey, we add this because we know that the smart, listing agents are going to ask for this anyway. So we're going to do this up front, which now promotes that, hey, we're efficient. We know what we're doing for you. They realize that we'll probably be easier to work with because we're ahead of the other people, the other lenders that had offers submitted that have basically a blank, just a text document. And, we're more memorable just because we've done something slightly different, and so I think those are really powerful things coming off of this one document. And this document is going, it's a reason to update, to use, to reach out to that buyer's agent that maybe you don't have the best relationship with yet because you're just meeting them, or you're just getting them back, or you just want to make sure that, if anything, you're building a communication plan around each step that you do in a loan process. How can we step back and look at this? I have to do a pre-approval. How many ways can I use this document? Moving on to a slightly different topic, or same topic of communication.
But real quick before you change gears. If you're working on the listing side, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm more concerned about the buyer's ability to close this place than really anything else. I know the sellers are looking at the price. I'm looking at, can we close so they can get that price?
Right.
So if the loan officer on the other side of the deal can subdue my my fears of not closing or whatever, my concerns, anything like that, if they can answer those questions, all my objections, everything else, I'm relaying that to my clients. We're like, look, this offer here is this amount, this offer here is this amount, but this loan officer has done their work. They're on top of it. I feel confident we can close this one. This LO isn't even getting back to me.
Right.
They didn't answer my call, and so for me, that's a deciding factor on who I want to, how I want to, I say sway the mind of the seller, but, basically advise them on what I think is going to be the smarter choice, even if it's a few $1,000 in difference. So think about that, as you're giving these pre-approvals, like, if you're hustling in that sense of really going to bat for the buyer and showing how qualified they are, that buyer has a better chance of getting that offer accepted and you having a loan to close.
And I think where, I definitely believe that, you got to have, to get your offer accepted these days, you got to have a lot of the right things at the right time in that place, and probably still the number one thing is going to be, the right offer price. But I think what Travis just explained, if we're doing a little bit more, being standout, being efficient, having a current, DU approval with that, having a standout loan, being efficient up front, we could win. We might be the second in line for the highest offer. That, if these things could, in my mind, I guess they could be worth anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 in the idea of, I believe that this loan officer is going to get this thing closed. It's worth risking. I would rather go with this guy right now, even though it's $5,000 less, than going with Navy Fed or with a Rocket Mortgage or what. Because the listing agent, like, again, as Travis described, he's kind of selling his opinion of the best offer, which is tied to how we put together our pre-approval. This whole bulleted situation with the date and the purchase price and down payment, I actually copy that across and it goes right into the main email that I send this with. So this is attached, it's here, but I double up and put it into the body of the email too. That way, even if they're just looking at their email on their phone, excited they got another offer, they're going to see the bullet points, which is one of the reasons I kind of like, I like Proppy, because it sort of broke down those, it has those key items that get shared with everybody and real easily. So I double up on that piece just just to allow what I believe is it shows our buyer's agent, our client, the borrower, as well as the listing agent, hey, these guys are efficient. They have a system in place. And all we're really doing is it's almost like, reproducing the top half of this letter that, so you're copy and paste, but you're adding one extra step in this point, so we can potentially be standout, but this is a very powerful document. And, what I'm hoping that we get from today is that, you guys start to think of other documents and other parts of the process of pre-qualifying someone and processing a loan, of areas that we can reach out and, create a conversation around, something that we do, or send to someone, like, so you can, again, have more touch points with more people, the listing agent, the buyer's agent, the client. And each time that we talk with them, I do believe that it goes into their mind, and they remember that when they're having conversations later about their experience. My guy was great. He did all these things. I've bought 3 or 4 other properties, and no one's ever done it that way. Those are the things that I'm hoping that, we can create. Ideally, I do want to, look at this and kind of, maybe come up with a second template, but I think we have, here's a pre-approval, here's our pre-approval that's on steroids compared to what we see in the market. And that's how I like to, present it to our client. But any other questions about pre-approval or the idea on this, you guys, at the moment? Anything that you guys would feel that could be a good addition to this to help stand out, as well as create conversations between our clients or the realtors involved?
Yeah, we can modify this template pretty easily. I
Yeah.
mean, this is just kind of what I threw together originally and
Okay.
ran with it. So
I think the picture right there on the side of the dates and purchase price, etc., would be perfect in that
Yeah.
little clear section. So
Yeah, right in here.
to the house, yeah, because then right there, the house is correlated with the price and down
Yep.
payment rate, so kind of correlates right there. That would be a perfect spot.
Yep. I mean,
The DU findings along with this. I mean, most realtors, the only thing they want to see is DU.
right.
Pre-approval letter, or it's worth the paper it's written on.
Right. No, exactly. And that's exactly, which is why when I talk to the client, hey, here's a pre-approval that here's a pre-qual. You told me what you're interested in, about your income, things like that. I haven't looked at anything. I'm going to assume you can do this. Here's a pre-approval. We've run you through DU. Here's my document. It has the details. Here's the pre-approval that we use that helps us get more offers accepted, because we believe it's like a traditional pre-approval on steroids. And then it has a couple, when you talk to your client, we add a picture, so it's more memorable. If someone offers 20 grand more for the house, the picture's probably not going to change the decision, but we're going to be remembered. And a lot of times being remembered and potentially getting, into the communication of potential, like, counter offers or anything like that, which we're not seeing right now. But, that's one of the things I always talk about is, like, hey, we at least want this offer to look good enough, even if we're coming in a little low, to the point where it appears that we should get a counter offer. Now, the way that you might look at that is if you you went in and offered $800K for a house. Let's say it's listed at $775. You come in at $800K, but your pre-approval shows that you're worth $900K or $1 million, which it's so funny that people aren't doing this anymore, especially in this market. They still want to come in with this, we're approved for this amount. Like, man, I want to show that this guy's got a pile of money.
ugh,
So
I've never liked that tactic.
showing the high amount.
No, I love that.
Oh, because
The approval for the exact amount of the offer. I've never liked
because
that.
it's like, dude, now I'm worried. Like,
Yeah, I'm worried as a listing
what I
agent.
feel like
is this their max?
exactly right.
I want to see assets. I want to see that you're over approved.
Like, this is an easy purchase for you.
Yeah.
Like, you're grabbing something. So you come in, you show them that they're worth $100 grand more. Now, if I am a listing agent that's gonna send out counters, this guy offered 800. He actually did come in over asking. These buyers have the mindset of they want this property and they have a little bit more money. Maybe I can squeeze 10, 15 grand more out of them through a multiple counter offer situation. And I know they have the money. So, and what that does for our clients, and this is actually how I talk to them about when I'm the realtor as well, is, hey, I want you to have the final word. If they come back and say they want, they counter back and say they want 815 for the house, it's your choice to decide if you want to pay that or not. It's not theirs anymore. Now it's up to you. And we give that to them by setting it up this way, is the way that's kind of how I present it. Part of my goal is to make sure that you get to make as many of the decisions of moving forward as possible versus feeling pressured by the selling side to do something. I want that decision to be yours, especially if it's saying that, this is getting too rich for me, I'm out. Like, perfect. Which is a lot easier to deal with, the phone call or the scenario, versus, we got outbid again when you're on their 10th house. The fact that when your buyer's like, it's getting too rich for us, we can't do that. Now you've got a plan going forward. Okay, well, 815 was too much. That means we need to make sure that we're looking for houses 750 to 775, because we only have another 45 grand that my client is comfortable manipulating and playing with above the asking price. So you have an opportunity to move forward there. If you just get told, hey, we got another offer, we went with that, you're like, oh, it's just, it's such a letdown. But yeah, I think this is a huge, powerful document that allows us to, have more marketing opportunities than just showing that our client is, capable of buying a house. And everything that we do, we need to think about it in that way of trying to present ourselves in the best light, so someone potentially wants to do business with us themselves, or they think of us when they're referring people out. And that's the key. The moving on to just communications with realtors, is we're trying to build, right now we're in a situation, I think, where, everyone's reaching out to realtors. That's what we're being told, because we're all looking for business, because the refi phone isn't ringing. We're limited on buyers. But, what I honestly believe, because, I'm still listed as a realtor. You guys who all have your real estate license, you're probably not being cold called by loan officers very often. I haven't got a call from a lender anytime in the last 6 to 8 weeks. So I don't believe that loan officers have become aggressive and started reaching out to realtors. My thought on that is that we should be trying to start conversations with as many realtors as possible, because if you can build up to having 10, 15, 20, 100 new realtor partners somehow that you're just communicating with, you're probably not going to get deals from them right now, because they're also struggling to get deals. But you start communicating with them and sharing all the same information, which can be done easily through automation, through Sierra, if you're using Sierra as a follow-up system, if you're using something like MailChimp or a BombBomb video, is start getting these guys in the idea of you're building a realtor database versus trying to start a relationship to get a deal. At this point, you don't want to pass up a deal, but I think if we're out chasing down realtors right now, that we're going to be, I think we'll be some of the few LOs that really are. And as things pick up, a lot of those realtors are going to fall off. They're going to go somewhere else. They might even quit. We don't know. I mean, there's definitely struggles on that side, but we'll have also created some relationships within these. And as you guys start to notice, you'll be able to tell who you can connect with a little bit further, so some ideas of how you could reach out to realtors would be, talking to them about your pre-approval. I think this document, again, this is a reason to have a conversation. Hey, I want to show you how we put together pre-approval. Do you have do you particularly have a lender that does something special? I'd like to show you what we can do, things like that. Teaching them how to do things, like inviting them to our trainings, invite them to Travis's Monday or Wednesday training from the LO. Like, hey, you don't have to join our company. We'd love it if you do. We think you'd be great, but come for the training. It's there. And wise, we have this training every week because our broker knows that this is what is needed. And so you're helping them learn a potential new skill, a work through or something. It doesn't cost us anything. So we found something free that we can now speak to them, get them excited about something. Again, you're just inviting them here. Like you have a reason to reach out to new realtors once or twice a week if you want. Hey, did you see that thing? Then if you actually watch the replays that Travis puts together, you could take that snippet of that video and send it to your realtor partners. Hey, this is what we talked about this week. What have you ever used this technique for lead generation, for client follow-up? Do you, how do you get testimonials? So what we're learning in these other trainings with the realtor branch of the company, we should be looking at those as how do we use that same information that we just learned to reach out to other realtors that weren't on that video call and that don't currently work with us. We've got
not to interrupt, but I got to jump off because I got a 10 a.m. with another.
All right, yeah. Thanks for coming on, though. And then we'll talk more about your project as you work through stuff.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
All right. What time is it actually?
That's right about 10.
Okay, so ultimately what I want to do is just want you guys to think about the idea of things that you're doing in your daily life, that you're doing within the loan process, your training, your education, and how you can turn those into opportunities to talk to, more potential leads, more potential loan partners, and sharing these things, sharing information that might be of value, which we don't know if it is or not, but you're trying to help. Maybe it's not that big of a thing, but what I believe is when I was a realtor, I saw lenders come on real hard and then they just disappeared. So that's what I'm thinking is if we can stay in communication using automation, like Sierra, that you can stay in contact with these people and these agents without, killing yourself to stay on top of it every day. But making 10 calls a day to a few realtors is probably beneficial for your business in the long haul. Before we jump off, I wanted Travis just give an update on the lead gen program that you're starting to, sort out with the realtor side, and then how we can potentially be partners with them.
So on what I'm dubbing as the $100 lead program, that is made possible by contributions from the company and from the loan officer and the agent. So it's a trio of people adding to the ad spend to make that happen. So in that program, we can connect loan officers regionally. So let's say, we're running it in Fresno, we're running it in San Diego, we're running it in North LA. If you're in that area and you want to be you want to be the lender or one of the lenders for that pool of agents who are contributing, basically what's going to happen is it's $100. You get Sierra, I connect you in with the ad, and every time one of the contacts comes in, the prospects, It's going to round robin everybody. And so every agent is going to have a lender partner with them in that program. And these are broker leads, because we as a brokerage are also pitching in for the ad spend to boost up the amount of contacts coming through. So it's an 80-20 split. It's nothing crazy. It helps us fund the program, and it's a very, very, very affordable program for realtors to start getting contacts coming into their business, you know, especially if they are just completely stagnant, they have nothing going on, they're brand new, whatever it is. This brings in contacts. These contacts will turn into clients. I know when I was a realtor and I had a lender partner with me, I sent all my leads to them all the time, and they would call from the lending perspective to try and talk to them about getting pre-approved and different, you know, answering questions that way. And a lot of times my lender partner would convert that lead before I would convert the lead, because they didn't want to talk to a realtor yet. They want to talk to a lender first. And so once my lender partner got them approved or started talking with them, then I would get introduced in and we'd start working with this client. So that's kind of the concept behind this. So far we have agents jumping in, they're getting contacts within a day, usually 2 probably at the most. You're looking at, you know, 3 to 4, maybe 5 contacts a week for $100 spend.
Nice.
And the $100 spend includes the Sierra product, which alone is a $400 a month program just by itself. So you're getting a phenomenal deal on that program, as well as the agents. So that's how you can get in. If you want to do anything on your own, we can run mortgage ads. We can do all kinds of stuff. Leo's managing all of the audiences and all that stuff. So he's getting a little skim as well for management fees on targeting. So it's not just we're throwing an ad out there and hoping for the best. Like, we have a marketer behind these ads, targeting audiences, watching the clicks, making sure they stay down as cheap as possible. So creating the ad, all that kind of stuff. So it's a professional setup all the way through. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to go over really well. I'm going to really start promoting it a lot more now that we've ran it in some test markets. We kind of have some metrics going. Leads are coming in. So yeah, that's where we're at with that.
In North
So-
LA, what part of LA?
Glendale is where we're running one right now, and then we're running another one in Antioch. But that one is she's not partnered with a lender partner because those are her own ads, but we can start introducing that as well.
So Antioch over in the Bay Area.
That's Diana.
Okay.
So she came in on the Premier Plus. So she's paying for her own ad spend. Those are exclusive leads to her. There's no broker split. But, you know, we can talk to any one of these agents on these Premier Plus programs as well and say, hey, if you want us to contribute, us being anyone in the lending team, if you wanted to actually partner up with any of these and split the leads, they'd probably be open to it. You know, and again, you would just automatically be connected with every lead that comes in. So,
which
a couple
means
options there.
for us, I think where you have benefits there is you could, for the same $100 ad spend, if you split it 50-50, you could have 2 partners. Again, just, you know, and the nice thing about some spend like this with one of these guys is you have almost like a captive audience to, you know, develop that relationship better, meaning that they're going to potentially send you, you know, their self-sourced buyers as well versus just these leads, you know. So you can develop that relationship, and, you know, by working that round robin situation, as you know, Tyler mentioned, the way that's actually better, because now you get an opportunity to potentially communicate with more of the realtors in the program, not just the one that you're specifically partnered with by, let's say, sharing the ad spend, but
Yeah.
you're also just working with, all of them.
So like
And
San
in that
Diego,
situation,
we're gonna split it in half, north and south, most likely. So if you wanted to be into the south section as, the lender partner, all the agents that are contributing towards that, the broker lead pool, basically for that program, you could be the lender in there. You would be contributing, the company is contributing. So there's two options. There's going to be contributing, getting into the $100 lead program, which is the broker lead program, the broker lead pool, or the exclusive. If you want to partner with agents like Diana, who, is closing a couple deals a month. She's a hustler, and, she's non-committal right now with any other lenders out there. So I'm sure that if you offered to partner up with her, that would be exclusive. Though that's in a more intimate relationship you're having with that particular agent. You're contributing to the ad spend together for your own exclusive leads together, and where the audience is. It's in that area. So
right.
There's a couple options there, and I think the foundation is built for it to really work well, for everybody. The other option right now is if you can get me flyers on 2-3 of the programs that you want to push, your ideal client. Who do you want to work with? What genre? What do you like? Give me those flyers. I'm connecting those in with our email direct campaigns for actually outside realtors as part of our recruiting campaign. So they're also being basically opted into receiving flyers from products that we're offering. So eventually that will start bringing in relationships outside as well.
Nice. And that's Paul, that's follow up from the email I sent last week or so ago, talking about going into UWM and creating flyers. So that's what he's talking about, sharing with the other realtors.
So if you want to hit reverses, if you want to specialize in whatever, like, Andrew, he knows the VA product well, that's a good one for him. Darren does a lot of the, investment stuff. That's where all his flyers are geared towards. So that way these outside agents are seeing these products that we're offering on the lending side as well, and hopefully solving some pain points they have, or opening up their eyes to products that are out there for borrowers that they're not necessarily working with, because maybe those borrowers don't know that product is out there. So if they can start sharing that information, be like, hey, I saw this flyer come through for something that you were talking about, let me call up this lender and check it out,
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
the idea behind that campaign.
Awesome. So, all right, well, let's call it for the day. Hopefully, Paul, you got some ideas, about how you can communicate and look at what you're doing to figure out ways to potentially use as a marketing tool to be a standout LO. If you want to talk more about specifics about things like that, just call me, and we can talk about, figure out what you're doing, or how to make something really cool that's memorable, whatever you want. And then I'm gonna actually go in and make a couple of different templates of this, pre-approval that we'll have, so you guys can see a couple of different versions of it, be able to grab those if that's what you want. And then also by having maybe even just a couple of them, it might give you an idea of how to create your own and personalize that as well, which is totally fine.
And the flyers I need in a JPEG, not a PDF.
In a JPEG.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let me update that. I actually need to look at that. Awesome. Omar, thanks for coming. Do you have any questions, or do you feel like this is valuable?
Yeah, there's a lot of good golden nuggets there.
Awesome.
I'm just trying to, like I mentioned to you and Travis, I'm just trying to make sure that when I'm ready to make a move, I'm making a move to the right place. I don't like to be going back and forth and trying to figure out which works best for me. I'd rather do the research up front.
Sure.
knowing that the decision I make is going to be one that's going to be a permanent decision. But
Yeah.
I'm excited. I like what I see. I like the numbers.
Awesome,
And I
awesome.
think that this is a good step forward for me.
Yeah. So, and on the training piece and stuff, like we have a Monday call with all the realtors. There's a Wednesday realtor training specific to them that we can jump on. You know, as an LO, we always like to do a mortgage update. So if you wanted to get on and present, like what rates are doing, a specific program, something like you want, we have those opportunities as well. This meeting is once a month. We have another trainer come on. We try and talk about some sort of a mechanical thing, and then the other 3 weeks of the month, I want to make them a little bit more like this, where we're kind of going over a topic, but getting some Q&A from everyone, input from you guys, because a lot of you guys are doing things that, you know, other LOs can benefit from, just on your experience, things that you've learned at other places. And so just trying to bring those all together so we can all improve our, you know, our game and marketing and, you know, grow our business. So pretty good. If you have a specific topic that you were thinking of or you wanted to learn on, you just let us know, and then we'll figure out how we can train on that in the near future.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be all
Fantastic.
good.
Sounds good. And then
Awesome.
I'm working on an email for you of certain questions that I had that I forgot to mention
Okay.
yesterday. So I'll be sending that to you shortly. And
Sounds
then
good.
hopefully maybe I can get with Travis soon to have another conversation to see what next steps moving forward might be, and maybe a timeline or a time frame for that to happen.
Yeah,
Awesome.
just text me with some availability and we can jump on a call.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I appreciate you guys taking the time and obviously sharing this with me. You don't have to share this with me, but the fact that you're willing to just it speaks volumes to me, because it's a 50-50 shot that you're taking, and you were willing to take it, which not a lot of people do that. So I appreciate that from you guys.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
not a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Pleasure
Paul,
meeting you
thanks
guys.
for coming.
Glad you can make it. We'll see you, Paul.
Talk to you guys. Bye.
All right.
Bye.